Hey, Randy Joe here, or the Average Joe, and today we're going to be continuing the January Blues series that I began yesterday. And to kick off January Blues, I began things off with Nina Simone's infamous Pastel Blues, an album that I thoroughly enjoyed from front to back. I thought it was a great blues album, and definitely an iconic and classic album to dive into if you're interested in the blues, which is why I started things there. But continuing on, I'm just going to venture off into any direction possible, and I just want to explore blues as a genre in just about every facet imaginable. So if you are a fan of blues, I highly recommend putting some suggestions in the comment section below, whether it be, some classics or some hidden gems. I would love to hear them. I'd love to check them out, and also maybe leave why you particularly like that album so I can explain it and talk about it in the video and shout you out. But carrying on, today I'm going with one of the most highly rated blues albums I found on Rate Your Music, and that would be Tom Waits' 1973 album, Closing Time. Because of course when you think of blues, a genre created by African Americans that infuses work songs, you think of Tom Waits, a white man. Jokes aside, I do love Tom Waits. I think he's a great musician. I did a review a while back on this channel for Heart Attack in Vine from him, so this is not a new entry on the channel from Tom Waits. So without further ado, let's just jump into Closing Time. It is 45 minutes long, 12 songs, came out in 1973, and it was Tom Waits' debut album. And this was before he got kind of weird and experimental, and when he was just doing some jazzy, bluesy stuff. So here we go, Closing Time. Old 55 kicks things off. We're going to hear him crooning on this. We're going to hear him sounding quite depressive. I cannot hear the words lickety splitly without thinking of that disgustingly awful Corey Feldman lickety splickety song. That aside, let's just continue. I'm hoping this will be better than what Corey Feldman gave us. Much more traditional Tom Waits here. His voice not nearly as grovelly as I'm used to. Much more, clean. I'm not too sure what the song is about. A trucker, perhaps? That's what I'm gathering. Or just a vehicle. Just a 55, a vehicle of some sort. Really nice piano. I believe it's Tom Waits playing. Hard to gather what this is about. Maybe I will understand on repeated listens. It just seems like a guy driving late at night or early in the morning. I'm not too sure. But I did like that one. I thought it was a decent opener. Did not, it's certainly not a shower. Next we're going to I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You, which has 70 million streams. I believe it's the biggest. It is the biggest on this album. I'm liking the instrumental of this. It's very, it's got a lot of passion in it. It's really guiding things along. Seems like a man shooting his shot, which we can all respect, with boundaries. Maybe he's not shooting his shot after all. He's a bit too shy. Seems like these two have now acknowledged each other. Will they fall in love? Will it end with the two of them becoming one? Closing Time, by the way. A little shout out to the title here. I think she's gone. He's lost his chance. Bluesy song about wanting to shoot your shot, being too shy to do so, letting the moment slip through your fingers. Seems like he's having another round, partially because he lost that chance, but also maybe he's hoping that she'll reoccur. She'll make her way back. In typical man fashion, fell in love way too quick. You just saw her face, buddy. Let's have a conversation first. Let's sit her down, get to know her. She could be not what you'd expect, but we've all been there. Next we've got Virginia Avenue. I like this one. It's got a smoky atmosphere kicking things off. Ooh, it's more jazzy. Got that cool jazz tone. Ooh. I really like this instrumental and the way he's kind of matching it. Ooh. I'm really liking just the guitar work and that horn there, the saxophone. The two of them kind of playing with each other. I like that send there. I think it's about a drunkard just trying to get a drink. A drunkard with a dark past. Okay, I like that one. A lot more jazzy, and I really like that approach to it. Definitely had a much more driving sort of melody as well compared to the last two tracks. Overall, just liked it, liked the tone, liked the atmosphere. Seemed like it was just about a drunkard looking for a drink, trying to bury his past at the bottom of a bottle. But next we've got Old Shoes and Picture Postcards. A heartbreak song. I think he's breaking up with his lady. Yep, definitely a heartbreak song. Seems the narrator has fallen out of love with his lady, and he's breaking the news. He's officially calling it quits and throwing in the towel. There's a sense of optimism in his vocals here, though. It's almost like he's happy to rid of her. Very catchy. I like this chorus. Nice upbeat focus. Ooh, we're going into an instrumental section here. I like the acoustic leaning of this track as well. Nice. What a way to leave her. It's getting quite cold-blooded here. I'm loving this one. Loving the passion and the chemistry with the bandmates here. Feels like a good bar song. Like any good blues song. Okay, I like that one a lot. Big fan of that one. Probably my favorite so far. Just really like the story being told here. Good songwriting overall. Just a great track. Definitely the best so far. Midnight Lullaby. We got that more jazzy instrumental kicking off things with this maybe trumpet? Saxophone? Seems like it's just a lullaby here. Am I missing something? Not a lot to say about this one. Just gonna cut in halfway and say so far, this one's really not doing too much for me. I find the slower tracks do not connect with me straight off the bat. That being said, I mean, he's still a great songwriter, and I think that comes through, quite a bit in his lyrics here. Like dream of West Virginia or of the British Isles, because when you are dreaming, you see for miles and miles. Stuff like that. Oh, I like the piano here kind of shifting up. Overall, this track is probably among one of my least favorites so far. A little lullaby melody there. Mockingbird melody. Okay, that one was decent. Did not love it. We're gonna go into Martha. It seems this one's about a man calling a lost love. It's been 40 years or more. Good old Tom Frost calling up his first love. That cute little story. What if she's dead? You ever think about that, Tom? I think he's just living in his youth. I do like this one. Great performance, great piano work, and Those strings coming in here are really ascending things to almost ethereal, warm tone, which makes sense given this very depressive yet touching track here. Okay, there's some regret there. I like the sense of like innocence lost here. Really nice melody on this one too. Yeah, I'd say so, Tom. You're calling up a woman 40 years after the fact, trying to break up her marriage, ruin her family, leave your wife. Impulsive is cutting it short, Tom. But I respect the courage. I respect the gumption. Still loves her after all these years. Very melancholic tone to this track. I really like that. It's almost bittersweet. That's a strong track right here. Very bluesy too, which fitting, you know. We want those blues tracks hitting hard, and boy does that one land. Martha, so far, Martha and Old Shoes are really standing out as some great tracks here. I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You is another pretty great one. I like that one. Virginia Avenue, also pretty solid. I gotta say, so far, I think my least favorites are gonna be Old 55 and Midnight Lullaby. But again, you know, first listen here. We're gonna continue. Rosie is the next one, which with Martha, we had a name, and now we have another name. Is it gonna continue a narrative, or is it a new story? What's with him and windowsills? You mentioned it 2 tracks ago on the Midnight Lullaby. Here we are again. I really like this, the self-harmonizing here. I believe that's him as a backup vocal. I could be wrong. Not a continuation of Martha. Similar themes though. Unrequited love. Loving this woman his entire life. I really like the almost like country-ish backdrop to this one. I think it's in the guitar playing especially that's really coming through, kind of sounding a little bit more westerny. I like this drumming too. A bit repetitive. Lyrically, for the most part, this was a pretty repetitive track. Instrumentally, it did kind of diverse itself quite a bit, especially with that little break in the middle there. And I liked just the overall instrumental, kind of switching things up, almost sounding a bit more country-ish. Next, we've got the track Lonely. Tom Waits is a piano player. You know, this is debut. He does a great job showcasing it. He's always in the front and center. Just a Lonely Man. Much slower track here. Just him and his piano. Kind of like that stripped back approach. Really adds to the sense of loneliness here. He's not overblowing it in any way. A slow track. There's not a whole lot to it, but I think the simplicity really comes through here. Really like it. It kind of serves as a bridge in the middle of this album. Just a lonely man caught up on lost love. A tale as old as time. But yeah, that was a pretty good one. I like that one. I thought it was very just very gentle, and despite being 3 minutes and somewhat repetitive, you know, it's a nice little meandering track in the middle of an LP. Next we've got Ice Cream Man. We all love a little bit of ice cream. Oh, it's picking up. It's picking up. Not a slow track. I thought it was going to be a slow track again. Definitely the fastest so far on the LP. I don't think he's talking about ice cream here. I believe this song's about a Is that a male prostitute? Is that correct? Am I right in seeing this? I really like the more upbeat, fast instrumental here. I think it's the first quick track we've gotten so far. Lots of metaphors for his phallic member, drumsticks and popsicles. Much more bizarre track among all these love tracks. You have an entire song dedicated to a man just wanting to bang. A lot of humor in the lyrics coming through, which I come to expect from Tom Waits at this point. Oh, we even got a little Ice Cream Man jingle at the end here. Don't really like how eerie it is, though. What kind of Ice Cream Man is this? Alright, that was quite a different track from anything else on this album so far. A lot more humor in it. A lot less serious. No themes of heartbreak this time around. But still very bluesy. Next we've got Little Trip to Heaven on the Wings of Your Love. Definitely slowing things back down after that fast one. I really like the more like jazzy approach to a lot of these tracks. I like a sweet song here. I like the more sentimental lyrics. That last track serving like whiplash between all these love songs. Really, again, cannot stress it enough. Tom Waits as a songwriter. He's very poetic in nature. And his lines just have a lot of depth to them. Very soft track, very gentle. Really like the jazzy, almost noir tone to it. I thought that was pretty good. I like that one. Definitely its greatest strength being the songwriting. Going right into the next track here, we've got Grapefruit Moon. A lot of lyrics tying to space and moons, and just that overall theme of, looking out the orbit. Maybe it ties all into the loneliness of the blues here. His vocals are much more focused on this one, like mixed higher than everything else. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's not really grabbing me in just about any way. I do like the piano work here though from Waits. Long instrumental here, which probably for the best, considering I think that's the best element of the track here. I really like the strings too that are coming in here. What even is a grapefruit moon? A moon that looks like a grapefruit? I guess that happens. This would be like a bright orange moon. Very divided on this one overall. Not sure about that one. Felt very divided on it overall. I think lyrically just did not resonate whatsoever with me. Instrumentally, quite well produced. Sounded pretty nice. But going into the last track here, Closing Time, the title track. Don't know if there's any lyrics to this one. Does not look like it. Which means we're getting a pure instrumental to close things out. Which probably for the best, because the instrumentals throughout this entire album so far have been quite strong. Very well produced, great chemistry between all the members. I like the jazzy focus too that a lot of these tracks had. I like this harmonica too. Has like a sense of sadness. Those strings. Whoever's performing on the strings throughout this album, I'll put their name here. But they're doing a fantastic job throughout. They really elevate every track to a different height. If that's a violin. Not much to say. Just a solid instrumental throughout here. Like I said, great chemistry among the band members. Tom Waits' piano playing really coming through front and center, like I said, throughout the album. And that harmonica was also a great addition to that track there. But that pretty much does it for the listening portion. And I gotta say, all in all, pretty solid album. I hope that I don't fall in love with you, Virginia Avenue, Old Shoes, and Picture Postcards, and Martha, especially Martha, are fantastic tracks. I think Martha is the strongest here, especially just the songwriting, the narrative, and just overall the entire thing just felt like a movie really playing out there. But then it's kind of crazy. You get something as dynamic and as full as something like that, and then tracks that just kind of feel like they meander a little bit, sort of like Midnight Lullaby and Rosie, which really stand out when you have Martha right between the two of those. Even Grapefruit Moon, one that I would probably leave off the album because it just did not seem to really go much anywhere. But for the most part, I did enjoy the bulk of this album. You see Tom Waits' just brilliant songwriting on a lot of the tracks. Lonely, I think, is a pretty underrated track here, especially since it has the lowest streams. Even though it's repetitive, I think just the stripped back instrumental of just, Waits and his piano really drive the message home of the loneliness here. And then the final lines of mentioning his lost love ties it all up quite nicely. But pretty solid album. All in all, I enjoyed it. Not as much as the album I would say I listened to yesterday, which was Nina Simone's Pastel Blues. But we're not going to do any comparisons just yet. We'll save that again for the end of the month when I recap every blues album I listened to for January Blues. And with that being said, if you are a blues fan, please leave a comment in the comment section below suggesting some blues albums you'd like to see me react to, whether they be cult classics or just infamous, landmark albums even, or some diamonds in the rough that you feel like not many people talk about. I will gladly give them a listen. Give me a reason why as to why you think I should listen to it. I will shout you out because, like I said, I would like to listen to as much of a diverse profile of every genre for the month of each genre. Again, not a huge blues fan myself, so I would like to explore it much further. That all being said, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along in listening to a bunch of blues albums this month, as well as new releases that I will be reacting to when some new albums actually come out this year. And that pretty much does it for this video. So, as always, my name is Randy Joe, and I'm signing off.